Hello, I am Petru from Gulian Technology. In today's video I would like to show you how to configure a GRE tunnel between a Cisco IOS device and a Linux VM. I will use in this lab a Cisco router and 3 Linux machines, 2 running Alpine and 1 running Ubuntu. So make sure to watch to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video and visit my website gulian.uk. Let's get started. Right now the GRE tunnel is not configured yet. We will take it from scratch. I will start by configuring first the Alpine 0 machine. So in order to add the host name to the Linux to the Alpine machine, you need to run the command sudo hostname, and I will give it the name Alpine 0. Okay. Now to add an IP address, you need to add the command sudo IP address add. The IP address will be from the CIDR range 10.1.1.10 with the subnet mask /24 255.255.255.0, and we will add this IP address to the interface Ethernet 0. Now we need to add the default route. To add the default route, you need to run the command sudo IP route add default and specify the default gateway. In my case it will be 10.1.1.1. Press enter. Let's check the IP address with the command IP address show. As you can see, we have two interfaces, a loopback interface and an Ethernet 0 interface, and the Ethernet 0 interface has the IP address 10.1.1.10. and let's check the routing table with the command IP route. As you can see, we have two routes, the 10.1.1.0/24, which is connected via the device Ethernet 0, and a default route which is reachable via the default gateway 10.1.1.1. We finished the configuration of the Alpine 0 machine. Let's go now to configure the Ubuntu machine. We'll run some similar commands, sudo hostname Ubuntu. I need to write the command correctly. It's hostname. I will add a new IP address. Let's check first the name of the interface with the IP address command. The name of the interface is ENS2, and I will add the IP address with the command sudo IP address add, and the IP address will be 172.16.10.10 with the subnet mask /24 255.255.255.0, and we will have this IP address on the interface ENS2. Now we need to add also a default route, sudo IP route add default via the default gateway will be 172.16.10.1. Now let's confirm the IP address with the command IP address show. We have the interface ENS2 with the IP address 172.16.10.10, and let's check the routing table with the IP route command, and we have the route for the CIDR range 172.16.10.0, and we have a default route via our default router which has the IP address 172.16.10.1. We have finished with the configuration of the Ubuntu machine. Now let's configure the router R1. We need to configure its interfaces first. I will go into the configuration mode with the conf10 command. I will select the interface GI0/1, and I will assign the IP address with the command IP address 10.1.1.1 with the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. I will add the now shutdown command. Now I'll configure the interface GI 0/0 and I will add the IP address with the command IP address, and the IP address is 100.64.10.1 with the subnet mask 255.255.255.252, and I'll press run the no shutdown command. In order to configure a GRE tunnel interface, we need to create first a tunnel interface. For this, I will run the command interface tunnel and I will give it a number 1, for example. We need to do a couple of things. As you can see, the interface tunnel changed the state to down. We need to specify the tunnel source and the tunnel destination, and we also need to configure an IP address for the tunnel interface. I will start with the command IP tunnel source and the interface GI 0/0, and I will add tunnel destination, and the IP address will be 100.64.10.2. I'll press enter, and I will add an IP address for the tunnel interface from the range 192.168.100. I will choose the IP with .1 for the router and with .2 for the Alpine VM. I will specify the subnet mask 255.255.255.252, and I will exit from the interface configuration mode. Now I need to add a route for the CIDR range, which is configured between the Alpine 1 and Ubuntu machine. So I need a route for I will add a static route with the command IP route 172.16.10.0 with the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and I will specify the next hop as the tunnel interface. So I will add the IP address 192.168.100.2. I will select the 2 for the Alpine, the IP address for the Alpine 1 box. I will press enter. I will exit from the configuration mode with the end command. I will run the configuration. I will save the configuration to the startup config by writing the command wr write, and I will check the status of the interfaces with the command show IP interface brief. Oops. Okay, we can see that all 3 interfaces are up and the protocol status up, protocol up. So we have the gigabit Ethernet 0/0, which is in an up state. We have the interface gigabit 0/1, which is in an up state. And we have the interface tunnel 1, which is also in an up state. Now it remains to configure the Alpine 1, so the Alpine 1 VM. I will go to Alpine 1. I will start by configuring the host name first with the command sudo host name Alpine 1. I will check the interface name. We have Ethernet 0 interface. I will add the command IP address add, and I will give it the IP for interface Ethernet 0. We need to specify an IP from the range 100.64.10.0/30. So I'll add the IP address 100.64.100.10.2 with the subnet mask /30. I will add sudo in front, and I will specify the device as Ethernet 0. Now I need to configure also the Ethernet 1 also. Before adding an IP address, I need to change the status for the interface from the down. As you can see, it's in a down state. I need to change it to up. So I'll run for this the command IP link, and I will run the command IP link set dev ethernet 1. I need to add a space, ethernet 1 and up. Let's check now the status for the ethernet 1 interface, and now we can see it's in an up state. Now we need to add the IP address with the command sudo IP address add, and we need to give it the IP address 172.16.10.1 with the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and we need to specify the interface ethernet 1. Now what else we need to do? We need to add the default route. So I will add actually no, I don't need to add the default route. What I need to do is I need to enable the routing on this VM. By default it is disabled. In order to check if the routing is enabled or not, you can run the command sysctl and net.ipv4 underscore forward sysctl. I made a mistake, and let me copy the command. So where I made a mistake. Now as you can see, so we have a 0, we need to change it to 1 in order to enable the routing on this machine. In order to enable the routing, you can run a similar command. So sudo sysctl-w net.ipv4.ip underscore forward equal 1. And now if we check with the sysctl command, we can see that the routing is enabled. Next, we need to configure the GRE tunnel. Let's first see if the module for the GRE is enabled. As we can see, it is not enabled, so we will use the command sudo mod probe, and we need to enable the module IPGRE. Now let's confirm once again that the module is enabled, and we have them here. As you can see, the module is enabled. Now we need to create a tunnel interface. So we need to add the command sudo IP tunnel add GRE1. This will be the name of the interface. We specify the mode as GRE. We specify the remote endpoint. In our case is 100.64.10.1, and we need to specify the local source interface, which in our case is 100.64.10.2, and we need to specify the TTL to 255 and press enter. Now we need to enable the tunnel interface, because if we check its status with the IP link show, we see that the GRE interface is in a down state. So in order to change its state to up, we need to run the command sudo IP link set, and we need to specify the device name, which is GRE1, and we need to add up. Let's check the state one more time. Now we can see that the state is unknown. It changed from down to unknown, and we can see the link source and destination. What else we need to do? We need to add an IP address to this tunnel interface. We need to do the same thing as we did on router and R1. I will run the command sudo IP address add, and we need to add the IP address 192.168.100.2, and the subnet mask is /24, and I need to specify the device, which is GRE1. Now let's check the IP address show for GRE1. We can see that we have an IP address for this interface. Next, we need to add a static route to the network 10.1.1.0/24 because right now we don't have a route to this CIDR range. We will add it with the command sudo IP route add. I will specify the CIDR range 10.1.1.0/24. I will specify that the subnet mask, the next hop should be 192.168.100.1. So this is the IP address for the tunnel interface, and we need to give it device GRE1. Okay, now let's check the routing table for this machine with the IP with the command netstat-nr. So we have a static route for the CIDR range 10.1.1.0. The gateway is 192.168.100.2, which in our case is the tunnel interface. We have a route for the CIDR range 100.64.10.0. We have one for the LAN side, which is 172.16.10.0, and we have a route for the tunnel range, the tunnel range, which is 192.168.100.0. Now let's check the connectivity between the VMs, between the Alpine 0 and Ubuntu. I will start a ping command on the Alpine 0 VM. So I run ping-c to specify, with -c you specify the number of the packets that you want to send. In my case, I want to send 4 packets, and I will specify the IP address of the Ubuntu VM, which is 172.16.10.10, and I will press enter. As you can see, we have connectivity. Let's confirm by running a TCP dump command on this host. So I will run the command sudo TCP dump -i. With -i you specify the interface on which you want to listen to capture the traffic. In our case is TCP dump -ins2. I can also add the host to specify to filter the traffic based on a host, based on an IP address. So I'll add 10.1.1.10. This is the IP address of the Alpine 0 machine. So now let's go back to Alpine 0 machine and let's repeat the ping command. I will also enable a packet capture between the router and the Alpine 1 VM. So I will start the packet capture, I will leave it running, and I will go back to the Alpine 0 VM and I will press enter. As you can see, we have the connectivity between the VMs. We have here the packets that we have captured the packets. We can see that the source IP address is 10.1.1.10. The destination is our Ubuntu machine. We have an echo request message, an echo reply. So in total we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 packets. Now if we check the packet capture, let's download it to see if let's open the packet capture. So I had the packet capture here. I will select the first packet and I will show you some details. As you can see, we had the GRE encapsulation. We have here the source IP address, we have here the destination IP address, and here we have the outer IP address, which is the tunnel source interface, which is on router R1 with the IP address 100.64.10.1, and we have a destination, which is the IP address of the Alpine 1 VM, the IP address of the Alpine 1 VM 100.64.10.2. As you can see, the GRE tunnel the GRE tunnels are encapsulated in the Linux. So now the and show IP route, you'll see that I have a route only for the CIDR range 172.16.0.0, and this CIDR range is reachable via the IP address 192.168.100.2, which is the IP address of the Alpine 1 VM, and the traffic is sent via the tunnel interface. So this is all that I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you how to configure a GRE tunnel between a Cisco IOS and a Linux VM. In this video you have learned how to configure a router with the Cisco IOS, and also you have learned how to configure GRE on a Linux machine. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel for other videos related to Cisco and Linux. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and until next time, bye.